Moshe with all
We
those
can
mixed
continue this
multitude.
later. What?
And
How
Gersh,
did Moshe with all the mixed multitude, how he felt.
We are doing the mixed multitude. We're starting over from the beginning of chapter 2,
All right.
853. That's why I brought it up.
Yes, that's why.
That is why I brought it up.
starting over again?
Yeah, we're starting over again. You know,
I just want
maybe I'll get it right this time, Alan.
Well, we got it right last time.
Maybe I'll get it right this time.
Got it right last
This
time.
is not good. Let me find. Did I? It says I shut down the file. Here we don't go.
there must be a
We have to
pen.
hit the right thing.
A pen.
Okay. Hi. All right. Welcome to Garden of the Spirit, a class studying apples in the orchard for the second time, beginning after Pesach 2014. This class meets in Long Meadow, Massachusetts, the center of the universe, and is held in memory of Malka Ruth Bas Moshe Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. We're on page 853, and we're going to do the mistake of the mixed multitude. Okay, number one. Moshe said that after he prayed 515 prayers to be allowed into Israel, Hashem got angry at Moshe on account of the people. Hashem told him, "It is enough for you. Do not speak to me anymore about this." Moshe accepted the mixed multitude, a large group of people from other nations who were impressed with Hashem's miracles and wanted to join the Jewish people. He did this on his own. Moshe did this on his own without approval from Hashem. He saw this as part of selecting and clarifying the sparks of holiness that fell into Klippa. Here it is. You have people who are in a state of Klippa, who are in mixed multitude, and Moshe is ready to accept them under the wings of the Shekhinah. If it works, it is a big coup. The Arizal states that this was premature as the people of the mixed multitude were not ready to join holiness. Okay, Alan, go ahead. Please begin. 853.
The mistake of the mixed multitude. Hashem became angry with me on your account and did not listen to me. Hashem said to me, "It is enough for you. Speak to me no more about this." This was Hashem's response to Moshe's plea. As we have explained elsewhere, the mixed multitude derived from the evil aspect of Moshe. They issued permanently and were not properly rectified first.
Prematurely. They issued prematurely.
Issued prematurely and were not properly rectified first, so they sinned. When the Jews left Mitzrayim, a mixed multitude of non-Jews asked to accompany them, and Moshe agreed. Although Moshe's intentions were good, these people had not been fully educated about the ways of Judaism and the path of the Torah. So they made numerous errors in judgment throughout Israel's trek in the desert, often drawing the Jewish people into their errors as well. We have defined evil as consciousness not sufficiently oriented toward and focused on Hashem, or worse, oriented away from or against Hashem. Just as people must undergo a selfish period of childhood in order to develop their sense of self before emerging into the mature adult world, so must any revelation of divinity or any soul undergo a maturation process before it can descend into the world. Although the soul will mature again during its lifetime, this is a second stage of development. Thus, to a certain extent, the character of the individual is already developed during its prenatal life. The mixed multitude reflected this idea of premature introduction into holiness. Insecure in their sense of self, they were not ready to abandon it in favor of the truth, to which they were being elevated. Moshe, as the leader, should have known that this was the case, but his acceptance of the mixed multitude reflected a weakness on his part, an unwarranted tolerance and acceptance of that which is imperfect and unique, erroneously allowing it to take part in mature adult life before its time. Perhaps this fascination with the raw, the untamed, and the immature echoes Isaac's fascination with and preference over Esav over Yaakov, as well as modern society's worship and indulgence of youth at the expense of its reverence and appreciation of the wisdom of age.
Okay. Now, it became Moshe's eternal mission to repair, it became Moshe's eternal mission to repair the mixed multitude and bring them into the realm of holiness. How do we say this? Moshe was, okay, I can't think of the right word. If he would enter Israel, they would be left behind. But now he had to repair them. Therefore, Moshe died and was buried outside Israel. His soul returns in each generation as the leader of Jewish people to repair the souls of the mixed multitude. Go ahead, Alan.
Moshe therefore had to die in order to ascend on high and receive Hashem's beneficence. There is therefore no generation without a leader like Moshe. In order to right the wrong he caused, Moshe's transgenerational job is to rectify the ongoing impurity of the mixed multitude until it is fully matured. He therefore belongs spiritually to the preemptive generation of the desert and could not pass over the Jordan River to lead the next generation in the conquest of its land. Aspects of his soul return as the leader of each generation in order to rectify the spiritual heirs of the mixed multitude. In order to do this, his soul each time has to accrue extra spiritual power. And this it does by staying in the womb of Ima for a longer than usual period, as the Arizal now explains.
Okay. 4. Each time he returns, he causes Abba and Ima to interact for 12 months, as opposed to a typical gestational period of 9 months. He says, Vayis Aber, Hashem became angry at me. Moshe uses a very unusual word for angry, Vayis Aber, which is similar to the word for pregnant. We said last week, gravid. The word be, at me, has a gematria of 12. So this can be read, Abba and Ima became pregnant with me for 12 months on your account. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
When he ascends on high after each incarnation, he causes Abba and Ima to couple, and he remains impregnated in the womb of Ima for 12 months. This is alluded to in the phrase, and Hashem became angry at me on your account. The numerical value of the word for at me in this phrase is 12. At me, Beit Yud, 2 plus 10 is 12.
Thank you. 5. The initials of the words, Vayisaber Hashem bilamanchem, Hashem became angry at me on your account, form the word Yovel, the 50th year, when the land is not worked and servants go free. The Talmud teaches there are 50 gates of understanding. The number 50 is associated with Bina or Ima. So this idea here is associated now with Bina or Ima. We just said that Moshe goes through a gestational period of 12 months. That is connected with Bina and Ima. Pregnancy is usually associated with women. No comment, Rudy. Go ahead.
Okay, no comment.
This phenomenon is also alluded to by the fact that the initials of this phrase spell the word for Jubilee, which is an appellation of Bina, as is known. And Hashem became angry at me on your account. Vayitaver,
Yud K Vav K.
Yudke Vavke, Be Lamanachem, Vav Yud Beis Lamed. Jubilee, Yovel is Yud Vav Lamed, Yud Vav Lamed, Yud Vav Beis Lamed. The Jubilee is the 50th year where the 50 gates, there are 50 gates of Bina.
Okay, 6. Moshe was born on the 7th of Adar. The Torah says his mother was able to hide him for 3 months before the Egyptians came looking for him. Why? His parents were married many years. When Pharaoh decreed that newborn boys be thrown in the Nile, his parents divorced. Moshe's sister complained that this way, no girls would be born either. Her parents accepted her argument and remarried. The Egyptian police only came looking 9 months later after they remarried. The Talmud says that Moshe was conceived before his parents divorced, and therefore he was born 6 months after they remarried. Rashi in Chumash has a different answer. Rashi says Moshe was born prematurely in the 7th month of pregnancy. All over in Jewish law and halacha, it talks about carrying to full term, which means born in the 9th month, or premature, which is to be born in the 7th month. That's after 6 months. You got 1 day. It's already considered the 7th month, and the child can be born prematurely. In halacha, if the child born during the 8th month does not survive. So at that time, Rashi says that Moshe was a preemie. At that time, before he started with the mixed multitude, 7 months of interaction between Abba and Ima, or gestational period, was sufficient to prepare his soul for his mission in this world. But after the whole fiasco with the mixed multitude, he needed a gestational period he will need, all his returns to earth will need a reincarnation. We will need a gestational period of 12 months. Okay, go ahead, Alan, continue.
When Moshe was born the first time, however, he required a pregnancy of only 7 months because his soul did not require so much maturation. When Moshe was born, his mother Yocheved hid him for 3 months, after which she put him in a basket in the river. If she hid him from the Egyptian authorities successfully for 3 months, why did she not continue to hide him? Our sages answer that Moshe was born in the 7th month, and the Egyptian authorities came to inspect her home only 9 months after her marriage to Amram, Moshe's father. The fact that he was born early means, according to our above discussion, that Moshe's soul did not require the full gestation period of 9 months in order to reach the level of maturity necessary for birth into this world, since it was a priori a superior soul.
All right. 7. Now, astrology acting based on astrological signs, like what's published in the paper every day, is forbidden. We are going to talk about astronomy, the stars and their paths. The year and dates on the calendar track the orbit of the sun around the earth. The sun makes a circle over the course of the year. Any date on the calendar means the sun is at the same point in its circle. For example, the first day of spring is always March 20th, give or take a day. In olden times, before they had a calendar of 12 months and a year of 365 or 366 days, people kept track of the season and the day by the location of the sun in its circle around the earth. How did they mark this circle? They divided the circle into 12 sections, each of 30 degrees. They referred to these sections by the stars in that section of the sky. They connected the stars in each section with imaginary lines to form a picture. Each picture is called a constellation. There are many constellations in the sky, but the 12 constellations of the sun's orbit are called the zodiac. In other words, the zodiac can be another way of saying an entire year. It's just a way to measure or to keep track of the year. Number 8. We just said in numbers 4 and 5 that Bina is associated with the entire 12 months of the year. We actually see this in the world, that when we talked about the gestational period. We actually see this in the word Bina. The first two letters, Beis and Yud, equal 12 for the 12 constellations of the zodiac, the months of the year. The next letter, Nun, or the one entire circle of the sun. The next letter, Nun, is 50 for the 50 gates of understanding of Bina. And the final letter, Hey, is for the first Hey in Hashem's name, Havaya, which corresponds to Bina, as we've had many times. Page 854 at the bottom.
Understand this, for Bina includes the 12 signs of the zodiac. These are alluded to in the word Bina itself, the first two letters of which, Beis Yud, have the numerical value of 12. The numerical value of the third letter of Bina, Nun, is 50, alluding to the 50 gates of Bina. And the last letter of Bina, Hey, alludes to the 5 states of Chesed or Gevura that exist within Bina. Bina, the central sephira of the intellect, is the mother of the emotions, which emerge from its womb. The 6 emotions from Chesed to Yesod define a 3-dimensional space or a 6-faceted cube, 2 facets for each dimension. Since emotion implies relationship with an other, and this requires a space in which to occur. The 3-dimensional cube is formed with 12 lines. These 12 lines are seen as the spiritual source of the 12 months of the year and their associated zodiacal signs. The 5 states of Chesed or Gevura within Bina are the precursors of the 5 principal spheros of the emotions, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, and Hod. They are the latent propensities of intellectual analysis to produce emotional response to the subject being studied.
Okay. 9. Hashem didn't want Moshe to accept the mixed multitude. Moshe accepted them on his own and took responsibility for them. Had he not accepted them, Israel would not have sinned with the golden calf. At Sinai, the muck injected into Chava by the snake was removed from Israel, and they would have been free of exile and even death. Through Puranamesha, the Mishnah learns that the tablets brought freedom to Israel, that is, freedom from exile and death. Okay, go ahead, Alan.
Know that Moshe's returns in every generation through this process of spiritual gestation and rebirth. For Hashem did not want to accept these unfit converts. Had they not joined the Jewish people, there would have been no death or exile. As it is written, the tablets were the work of Hashem, and the writing was the writing of Hashem, chiseled on the tablets. When the Torah was first given, the spiritual impurity caused by the sin of the tree of knowledge was removed from the world. Thus, the word for chiseled, charuf, can be interpreted to mean freedom, cherut. The tablets freed the world from the sentence of death and its spiritual analog, exile. The mixed multitude, however, perpetuated the sin of the golden calf, which reintroduced this impurity or self-orientation into the world.
Okay. 10. Yet Moshe felt it would be good to welcome the mixed multitude into holiness. Go ahead.
But Moshe accepted them, thinking that it would be good to absorb them into holiness. This way, Moshe reasoned their unrefined power could be harnessed for holy purposes. Their desire to join the Jewish people seemed to indicate their readiness for this.
And Moshe felt a special bond with the mixed multitude. He says, the people in whose midst I am, and Hashem says, the people at your feet. Therefore, Moshe wanted to bring them to holiness. Okay, Alan.
He especially wanted to accept them because they were somewhat important to him, as it is written, the people in whose midst I am, and the people at your feet. Thus he sought to rectify them.
Okay, 12. The mixed multitude ended up ruining the Jewish people. Moshe was on Mount Sinai when Israel worshipped the golden calf. Hashem said, Lech Raid, go descend, because your people have caused ruin. Hashem did not say they were ruined, but they caused ruin. Meaning the mixed multitude caused ruin for Israel. Page 856, Abigail. Please take over.
But on the contrary, they ruined Israel, as it is written, go descend, for your people who you brought up out of Egypt have corrupted. It does not say have been corrupted, but have corrupted, meaning have corrupted others, i.e., Israel. In this verse, the verb corrupt is transitive. Furthermore, God tells Moshe about his people that he, not God, brought up out of Egypt, referring to the mixed multitude.
Okay, 13. Every 50 years, Moshe again goes through a process of a 12-month gestation to repair the ruin caused by Israel, by the mixed multitude, and to prevent the spiritual descendants of the mixed multitude to cause Israel to err.
Moshe must therefore undergo this re-impregnation every 50 years, for he is the root of the people of Israel and must do this in order to rectify them, so they not be led astray by the descendants of the mixed multitude in every generation. The 50-year period does not mean that Moshe only lives for 50 years each time he is reincarnated. Rather, it apparently means that each incarnation period lasts for 50 years. During this time, his soul is present within the soul or one or more leaders of that generation consecutively.
14. As we said, there are 50 portals of understanding. Before Israel sinned, Moshe grasped all 50 gates, portals, even the highest. After the golden calf, he lost the highest gate and only grasped 49 gates of understanding.
Before Israel sinned, Moshe was completely perfect, and he was able to grasp the 50th gate of understanding, which is the greatest of all these gates. When Israel sinned, it was hidden from him.
Not 15. When Hashem told Moshe, go descend, that we talked about before, the word for go, lech, has a gematria of 50. Hashem told him he must forego the 50th gate, and he only possessed 49. Like, descend from the 50. One moment. Okay.
Okay.
And stop in the midpoint, Elishava.
Okay.
I'll tell you when to stop.
This is the significance of the phrase, go descend, for your people have acted degenerately. The words go descend can be interpreted to mean descend from the numerical value of the word for go, i.e. 50. This accords with the statement of our sages that 50 gates of understanding were created in the world, and all were given to Moshe save one.
Okay, here I'm going to do the next part. The Talmud learns that Moshe had 49 of the 50 gates from a pasuk in Tehillim that Vatachasrehu ma'at me'elokim. You caused him to lack a little of Elokim. Instead of 50 gates, Moshe only had 49. I think this means, as me talking here, I think this means that Moshe missed the smallest of the name Elokim. The smallest letter is Aleph with a value of 1, which leaves 49.
That is, at first they were all given to him, and one was taken back from him later. This is also the inner meaning of the verse, "You have made him a little lower than God," which we are taught refers to Moshe. He was originally complete in this respect, but afterwards he was made a little less than God, meaning the numerical value of the letter Aleph, 1.
Okay,
Go,
huh?
oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
is go lek. Lamed Kof, 30 plus 20 equals 50.
17. Another way to understand this is from the word ma'at, a little. The ayin has a subtle sound, and the word can be read as if the ayin is missing. Without the ayin, the word is memtes, which has a gematria of 49. The 49 gates are only a little compared to the 50th gate. Not that 49 is a little less than 50, but all 49 are considered not much compared to number 50. Moshe was left with a little without the 50th gate.
Alternatively, it means that he was reduced a great deal, and only the 49 levels of understanding were left to him. As the sages say, do not read a little me'at, but 49 memtet. The 49 remaining gates are even collectively only a little bit of understanding relative to the 50th gate, which transcends them all.
18. The Torah says Moshe ascended from the plains of Moab to the Mount Nebo, where he died and was buried. The name of the mountain Nebo can be read as Nun Bo, 50 is within him. And it says ascended. That means he's being elevated. Hashem saw that Moshe's intentions in accepting the mixed multitude were pure, and Hashem granted him the 50th gate of understanding before he died.
But since Moshe's intentions were good, God did not deny him this goodness. When he passed away, Moshe ascended from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo. Nebo can be interpreted to mean the locale of the 50 gates. The letter Nun, whose numerical value is 50, entered his name, forming the word for soul, neshama. It is known that the level of the soul called neshama is bina. Nebo, nun beis vav. The last two letters form the word for in it, bo. So nebo can be taken to mean nun is in it. Moshe, mem shin he, neshama nun shin mem he. The 5 letters of the soul correspond to the sephiros as follows. Yehida, the level of the soul, goes to the sephira of Keter. Haya to Chachma, Neshama to Bina, Ruach to the Midos, Nefesh to Malchus.
So we're focusing here on Neshama and Bina, and I didn't finish the explanation, my mistake. Number 19, it also could mean the letter Nun was added to Moshe's name, Neshama, and Moshe. Moshe's name then becomes Neshama, and the level of soul called Neshama corresponds to Bina. 20. Finally, there is a story of a Levi in the book of Shoftim, chapters 17 and 18, who officiated for what is known as the statue of Micha. Raise your hand if you're familiar with this story. Okay, after the Jews entered Israel, there was a family, there's a little strange story, family made a statue. They lived in the far north of Israel, in Dan. They set up a worship in their compound, their house, and they hired a Levi to be the rabbi, to be the Kohen, more accurately. At the end of the story, we're told, it's not until the end of the story that we're told the name of the Levi. That was Yehonatan ben Gershon ben Menashe. I think it says Ben Gershon. Ben Gershon ben Menashe.
Are they
The letter
worshiping?
Nun is suspended higher than the other letters. Now, Gershom, we do have someone named Gershom. We find elsewhere. That is a son of Moshe. Our sages say that this Levi was a grandson of Moshe, and it's hinted in the suspended Nun. In the Navi it says Menashe, but without the Nun, the name reads Moshe. So the Nun is suspended. It's actually written higher than the other letters to tell you that wink, wink, read it without the Nun, and you'll know who it really was. The Navi apparently does not want to bring shame to Moshe and does not write the name till the end, and writes Moshe's name in a hidden way. Actually, if I remember that it's commentaries say that this Moshe's grandson got into this because he was disappointed. He felt that as Moshe's grandson, he was entitled to more respect, to more prominence, and so in the end, he took this job.
Hmm.
Can you imagine having Moshe as your grandfather
Huh.
and you get a job working in as a for a statue, holding services for a statue? Okay, Kesher Nafshi, where are you?
That's called rebellion.
Kesher Nafshi is an organization that for people whose children are dealing with whose children are dealing with all kinds of issues, depression, alcoholism, drugs. I'm sorry, or none of the above, but who are not not observant, not as observant. In any case, in that context, Moshe is called Menashe for the nun that was added to Moshe for the 50th gate of understanding. Again, nun is 50, meaning that now that Moshe got the 50th gate of understanding, so we'll add the nun to his name. We said it's Neshama, but here it can also be Menashe. In that case, the name Menashe is something positive. Okay, and you've already read about that. They actually, so you see there are two texts that he's explaining. He translates the text on the right. Text on the left includes this extra thing about Menashe, that about Moshe's name becoming seen as Menashe, which is he doesn't write anything about. He doesn't translate that, but that is in the text on the left side. 21. Moshe prayed 515 prayers that he should enter Israel and not be subjected to go through gestation and rebirth every 50 years, but to no avail. Go ahead, Abigail.
Moshe prayed so many prayers in order to not undergo re-impregnation every generation, but he was not answered positively in this respect. We are taught that Moshe prayed 515 prayers, the numerical value of the word Va-etchanan, and I beseeched, the first word of this section of his address to the people. In order to enter the land of Israel. As we have explained, entering the land of Israel means achieving redemptive consciousness.
22. When Moshe said, Hashem got angry with me on your account, he addressed the mixed multitude. As he said earlier, the word for angry is not a typical word used for anger. It is similar to the word for pregnant. Moshe said, because of you, mixed multitude, I have to go through a 12-month gestation every 50 years. Go ahead.
This was the meaning of the words, God became angry with me on your account. Moshe was speaking to the mixed multitude present at the assembly. The word for became angry, va-etchanan, can be read, made me re-enter the state of pregnancy. The verse thus reads mystically, God made me return to the fetal state because I decided to accept you prematurely.
23. On your account can also be understood to mean on account of Israel, to repair damage that they have incurred.
Alternatively, we can say that he was speaking to the Jewish people, and the words on your account mean in order to rectify you. In this case, the verse reads, God made me return to the fetal state and be reborn in order to rectify you.
Now, the Talmud cites the possibility of a 12-month pregnancy. So it's not just here in theory. In the Talmud, it is looked as a realistic possibility. This is the word be with me that has the gematria of 12, as we've mentioned. Still, Hashem did not accept the prayer of Moshe to enter Israel and avoid being reborn every 50 years. Okay, take it to the end.
Moshe continued, but God did not hear me, meaning that my prayer was not accepted.
You skipped one. The word.
I'm sorry. The word for with me, be, by, alludes to the 12 months of pregnancy Moses must undergo in these cases as mentioned above. This is similar to the case of extended pregnancy described by the sage Rabbah Tosefah. B is bet yud 2 plus 10 equals 12. Rabbah Tosefah discusses the case of a man who leaves his hometown for 12 months and returns to find that his wife is about to give birth, or just did. He pronounces the child legitimate. Moshe continued, but God did not hear me, meaning that my prayer was not accepted.
Okay.
I didn't know anything at all about this stuff.
Which stuff?
That Moshe got in so much trouble and that he lost the 50th level.
Yeah.
And the division, the degree of division between Israel and the mixed multitude.